Hey guys, I never really read manga. I don't have a grudge against the art form, it's just that my time is limited and I always thought it was best bet on better things and I didn't know where to start. It just seemed so dense. But recently, I read the first manga I ever read, Ghost in the Shell, and I really liked it, and I figured that while I was on a roll, I might as well do something that I've always wanted to do, and that is read the manga series Berserk. I've heard a lot of praise for Berserk over the years, how it's one of the best stories ever written, it's flawless, beautifully done. Ishmael! Ishmael, I need your help! Ishmael, I know you can hear me! You gotta help me. I've just fallen apart. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I can't. I don't know what's going on. I can't help you unless you know what the problem is. I've run out of time. Hey guys! So before we jump in, I wanted to give you all a little bit of a briefing to make sure everything goes down well. See, this video is not like any other you'll find on my channel. It's not a video essay. An essay tries to present an argument or series of observations and conclusions about whatever's been keeping me up at night. Very importantly, essays, at least my essays, tend to involve your logical reasoning. And this video is going to have a bit of that, but it's mostly going to involve your emotional reasoning. Big difference between the two. Logical reasoning engages the void part of your brain. It's very clinical, relies on concrete facts and hard evidence. It's how we get science, laws, airplanes, all that boring stuff. Emotional reasoning is in your blood. That deeper, lizard part of your brain. It's how we get marriage, memes, fascism, waifu wars, everything that makes the world go around. Everyone uses their emotional reasoning more than their logical reasoning. They'll tell you they don't, but they do. Maybe there's this guy at your school or your workplace you shouldn't really talk to because, I don't know, he's just got this vibe to him. Like, something about his face just tells you he's bad news. Emotional reasoning is your gut instinct, your biased judgment, far harder to change than any argument of reason. But in many ways, it's more accommodating. The point of a logical argument is to make you agree about some truth of the universe that can't be contradicted. If I paint that wall a single color, it can't be red and white at the same time. Gravity is either real or it isn't. But an emotional argument has room for depth. There are things in your emotional reasoning, the way you see politics, people, religion, violence, that I can't easily change. But, there's this thing in you called empathy. It's a radical concept, miraculous in its grandeur. Its existence is the only non-religious argument that I think justifies the moral worth of people. It is super dope. Empathy allows you to not change your emotional reasoning to that of another person's, but to consider it, to hold another truth that contradicts your own and look at it. And that's all I ask. Look at what I present here. You don't have to agree. I want you to understand. And I have faith that you can do it. I just don't know how did I run out of time? It doesn't make any sense. It's just, none of it makes any sense. All right. Calm down and tell me what happens. They're back. They're back. For the last month, all of our problems are back. The depression, the rage, the anxiety. Before that, I was stable. I was so stable. I swear that I was doing so good. And then it just started. When did you start noticing a problem? I go to work and I get panic attacks. I try and work on the book and nothing comes to me. Nothing ever comes to me for anything anymore. I can't concentrate. I can't focus. I look at how long I've let the channel go follow and I just don't understand how anything works anymore. Hey, you're fine. We've gone through this before. He's gone through this before. But I was supposed to be better. I was supposed to be stable. That was the whole point. And I was for so long. And then it just came. How did this happen? How did this happen? How did this happen? Wyatt, I'm so sorry. Wyatt, I failed you. How did this happen? Fear is the first emotion. It's the deepest, most primal flicker across the human brain. There is nothing more important or more base. Rage, joy, sorrow, all can be burned away by fear because fear is required to survive. It's that deep drive of don't die. That's your job on this planet. Don't die. And so we fear death, violence, murder, but also the potential of death. That's where you get the fear of heights and that old joke about how it's stopping the fall. That's actually the problem. This is why so many are afraid of public speaking. There's a potential of death there, the death of status, of being hated, of letting down those around you. No one wants to sink on the social ladder. But so much of fear is just fear of the unknown. If you've been a child, you know what it's like to tremble at the shifting shadows of the dark. What's wrong? There's nothing scary about the absence of light. You're not afraid of the dark, you're afraid of what's in the dark, what could be in the dark. No one likes the unknown. Voters keep incumbents in office. Take an intro to economics course and they'll tell you capital loves nothing more than reliability. In uncertain times, everyone grows more conservative. They draw back and quiver. And yet I find what frightens people the most, what unnerves them the highest, is when you bring the familiar and the unfamiliar together. When something's just a little bit off. When someone just like you does the unthinkable. What's more terrifying than a serial killer? Than an alien wearing human skin? Can you think of anything more horrifying than looking into the eyes of another human being and seeing something that you don't understand? I wish to know what separates mankind from the other beasts of this world. We're not the only creatures to live in complex societies. You can find those amongst Wolves, meerkats, gorillas. How about tool use? Well, crows, octopi, orangutan all have that skill. No, it's language, of course. Complex thought needs somewhere to go, and speech, communication, sharpens that impetus. Language is the key to human evolution. It's how a father teaches his sons to craft a spear. It's how the sons discuss amongst each other how to improve the spear's design. Generational knowledge. Children building on what their parents knew. Learn how to write things down, how to store that knowledge, and you're off to the races. Beyond that, you have debate, discussion. This is how a group determines a leader. It's how the leader convinces others to stay in the group. The key to human bonds. We make art, we build civilization together. Alone, a woman dies off in the woods, but in joining a group, she achieves a sort of immortality as her actions affect future generations. And it's all possible because of communication. We make schools to educate through communication, religious rituals and myths to communicate to our children our core values. And to not understand that communication might be synonymous with not being in the group at all. Scientists will tell you that the story of this universe is one of rising complexity. Big Bang happens, and first there was hydrogen. Hydrogen begot stars, stars begot metals, metals begot our Earth filled with all sorts of chemicals. And from these chemicals rose life, bacteria, fish, dinosaurs, monkeys, and us. And they see mankind as another story of rising complexity. We made bigger cities, more interconnected trade networks, advanced technologies. They claim one day we'll make a machine more complex than all of the neurons in our brains, but I have a real hard time imagining anything more complicated than man's use of language. Think about it. The way you speak is stupidly complex, unimaginably complex, but let's try and work it out. First, there's the literal meaning of your words, and you know thousands of them with their definitions. Some of these words mean multiple things depending on the context. Then there's the tone of voice those words are packaged in. For example, in this section I'd say my tone has had an air of playful pretentiousness to it that's supposed to put you off a bit while still pulling you in. Pitch affects all this, of course. My volume, my intensity, even my accent affects the way you see me. And there's so much more to the communication than just the literal meaning of the words that you're stringing together. I can employ sarcasm, irony, hyperbole, reverse hyperbole. I can make reference jokes or insert seemingly random phrases that are actually memes from 10 years ago. I can quote other people, sincerely or ironically. I can use an intentionally funny voice to signal that I'm not being serious. I can employ simile and metaphor to relate experiences that aren't all there on a literal level. Everything I say can be an allusion to a completely different story or a parable with some sort of deeper meaning. I can affect you with my eye contact, with my hand gestures, the way I hold my shoulders and hips. And that's before we get to the fact that I can just lie. You want me to start at the beginning, like the beginning. Well, you know, I knew there was something wrong with me before I had a name for it. Looking back, it was really obvious all of the adults in my life kind of bent and folded to make everything seem normal to me for a while. My mom truly denied that anything was wrong for the longest time. I did well in school, and I think that threw her off the scent. You know, she just thought I was quiet. I think all the doctors told her I was going to be valedictorian or something like that. I think my dad noticed something was wrong first, but he just... You know, they wanted me treated the same way everyone else was treated. That was the strategy, to jam me into that round hole and just hope that I would fit. And I really wanted to fit, but by the time I was 8, 9, it was clear that there was a gap growing between me and the other kids. And I could feel it. Like, I could really, truly feel it, this rift widening between me and them, and it freaked me out. Why was everything suddenly so different? I hadn't changed. And, you know, that was the problem. How could this happen? How could this happen? How could this happen? How could this happen? How? Weaver, you need to calm down. No one could do what I did. You know that no one could do what I did. Get a hold of yourself. I was stable. I was the closest any of us have ever been to being stable. They like us now. And I did that. No one else has ever done close to doing that, and I did that. That's true. Then why is our brain breaking again? It's happening again. This is exactly like when we almost got expelled when we were 12. Like when we almost died when we were 18. All that shit that happened when we were 21, it's happening again, and I don't understand why. You provided the greatest period of stability we've ever known. You should be proud of that. And it was just all going so well. I was one of them. I was one of them. I'm the one who figured out how to pass. No one else did it. That was me. I became a manager in customer service. Tell me you ever thought we would be able to do that. Tell me, Ishmael. Tell me you thought that I was going to get this far. Tell me that he thought that he was going to get this far. Kid, he didn't think he was going to see his 24th birthday. And he didn't. You made sure of that, didn't you? If you don't say what you mean, that's lying. Sarcasm, analogy, understatement, all forms of lying. Lies and deception are in some ways the heart of the human experience. Everyone's lying about something, and despite how malign this is by our culture, I don't think it's a bad thing. How could it be when everyone does it? When it's such an integral part of our expression, our creation of meaning? When it's at the foundation of our civilization? Now, I'm not trying to be pedantic or sound profound, but think about it. You can feel it. Everyone can feel this malaise of fakeness that's spread over all of us. How often are you your real self in front of other people? You're not. You're probably a lot more polite to other people than you like to be, bound by the chains of common decency and manners. Maybe you don't bring up your politics at work or your sexuality at church. Maybe you lie to your parents and you tell them that your life is a lot better than it actually is. Maybe you put on a brave face to your children so they can live in blissful ignorance. A lot of people call this act of being another person, around other people, emotional labor. Others just call it wearing a mask, and I like that phrase, the mask. You're still there, you're still you, you're still present. But you're presenting something
that you're not. As time marches on, I see younger and younger generations more unnerved by this subject. The millennials really rebelled against the fakeness of this world. They pushed past the punk rock of the Gen Xers and began to crave authenticity. They pushed for younger, more vulnerable creators and got their news not from laced-up authority figures, but from self-deprecating cynics. And they know that the world is fake. How often do you see a message like, "Don't believe what you see on Instagram"? That's not the real life. How often do you see a person speak about their truth? And yet it's the youngest among us who really know how to deal with this problem. They embrace their masks. It's not uncommon, for example, to see a person my age who identifies more with their online tag than their real name. I never did that, by the way. Growing up, I was always Wyatt, and it was time to start this channel. I extended it to a nice, neat alliteration. Wyatt the Word Weaver. But I'm off topic. Masks, yes, masks. There's something beautiful about masks. They're not perfect. You can hurt yourself if you don't know what you're doing, but I think it's fundamentally good that we all hide a little bit of ourselves from each other, or rather that it's necessary. It has to be necessary, right? Or else no one would do it. If everyone's doing something, that means it's hardwired into the DNA of the species. That means it's fundamental to what it means to be human. And if you couldn't do it, well. All right, chin up, shoulders slack. Effortless. It has to be effortless. Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Don't, it's too forward. You're gonna scare them. Just nice and easy. Hey, how are you? What's up? What's up? What's up? Okay, all right. Let me see your palm. A little bit of the elbow bend. Don't be stiff. Just hey, I like your top. Bring it back a little. Hey, I like your top. Hey, I love your top. Hey, I love your top. A little more smile, just like don't be creepy. Hey, I love your top. What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? That's not right. That's not right. They do what do they put up more movement. Like what's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? There, that's it. Just like glide into it with the hips. What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? Oh, me? Same old, same old. Well, you know, the older I got, the wider the gap between me and the other kids became. In third grade, it was starting to become clear, and then fourth grade, it was just completely untenable. The teachers, they said I was special. But, you know, they said everybody was special. Mine was different. It wasn't good, at least they didn't talk like it was good when they didn't know I was listening. And then with kids my own age, every interaction with them became difficult, frustrating, random. It was like it was random. You know, I didn't know what would happen when I talked to them. It was like reaching your hand into a bag of snacks, getting an electric shock. And that happens over and over and over. You stop reaching out. So I pulled back, I pulled in. I was alone, and I got angry.
Now, obviously all societies have had individuals within them that didn't belong, that didn't fit. There were those who violated the established norms of the group, lawbreakers. we might call them. Now, these days, we think of execution as the greatest punishment for a crime, but in many ancient societies, the greatest punishment was actually exile. It was worse to be scorned and banished than to die, to have everyone you've ever known and loved turn you out. That was the greatest wound a human could inflict upon another. Because for humans, being social isn't a byproduct of our existence. It is our existence. Without it, we die. In recent years, more and more countries have come to recognize solitary confinement as a form of torture. Some weather it better than others, but the human brain is clearly not supposed to exist in a vacuum. Without access to others, it begins to malfunction, spiraling in on itself, and an individual can become twisted, demented, desperate. Imagine for me that you wake up in a strange bed in a strange room. You get up disoriented, exit to the street, and find yourself in a city that is not your own. People pour past you on all sides, clamoring and hollering. You look around for something to ground you, anything familiar, but it isn't there. And suddenly you notice that those crowds have stopped. Its people have circled you, staring at you. Each one of them speaks a language you don't understand. It is completely and totally foreign. You try and guess what they're saying, but you're so far off, they mock you for trying. They press closer, shove you, scorn you. Their voices grow louder, each one demanding something you cannot give. And deep down, you know what they're saying. Why are you like this? Why are you different? Why are you being so difficult? Why are you being this way? So, at the end of your elementary years, you were growing angry at the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was angry at myself, really. I hated myself.
But I took it out on other people. By middle school, there were fights, suspensions.
I struck out, I pulled back, I struck out, I pulled back, and by the end of it, I just cut myself off from everyone.
And what happened at the end of middle school?
It's not important. I mean, I eventually found someone that they could get along with. And in high school, I focused on that, kind of walking around like a husk. I was really depressed back then. But I just didn't know what the point was.
But you do now.
Yeah, I have the me that works out there, and then for myself, I make art. I write books, I have a YouTube channel, I do things that satisfy me.
It allows you to be you.
Yeah, it's something of me that I like. It keeps me going, it's good. It's a big improvement, let me tell you.
And do you plan to publish those books?
Yeah, eventually, of course I do. I've just been very busy, with all of the. No, you stay right there. You don't come close to me. Don't come close to me, Weaver. I'm not going to hurt you. No, you stay away. You're gonna kill me. You're gonna kill me. You're gonna kill me, just like you killed Wyatt. The boy was born with a demon in him. Everybody knew it, some tried to deny it, but the curse spread as he got older, infecting every part of him. He fought it. Lord knows he fought it, but by the time he was a teenager, it was just too far gone. It killed him in the end.
choked out all the joy, and it choked out all the life. We buried the two of them in the woods, bound the demon in chains so it would never get out, and hid it where it would never be found. What rose in the boy's place was a hollow shell of a man, and look, that was the best option. Best for all of us. I ain't proud of it, but we did what we had to do. And no one, they were never gonna love that demon. They were never gonna. They say some days if you walk through those woods, you can still hear the demon howling, yearning to break free. It knows what we did, and it knows what its place truly is.
Everyone wants to be normal, especially as a youth. Everyone wants the love and support of their peers, to be part of a crowd, to fit in, to fill a role. That's meaning, that's purpose, something to light up an otherwise pointless life. That's how society functions. Because if everyone can fill a role given by everyone else, we can forget our own pain. That's why society is increasingly breaking down these days. Why everyone's so miserable. We're increasingly fragmentized, confused, unsure of what our collective destiny is. We're individualized, spread out. No one tells each other what roles they're supposed to fill anymore. No one's told you what you're supposed to do, so you're adrift, and this torments you. I know it's awful, but frankly, everything you've been through, that's easy shit. I'll tell you what would be hard. What would be hard is if you had 1,000 people screaming at you to fill a role, but no one would tell you what it was. No one would spell it out, say it out loud. Everyone would blame you for not filling the role, but no one would tell you what it was. I'm here. I want to give you what you want. Why won't you tell me what you want?
If you ask a difficult question, you're going to get a complicated answer. And the most complicated answers are told as stories. The United States is a story. It's not real. The laws are on paper. The borders are on maps. People walk around with this idea in their heads that there's a place called America that fought for freedom against tyranny and stands for peace in this world. There are conflicting stories, of course. Doesn't matter which one's real. Only which one more people believe. The identities of all things are stories. Who you are is just a narrative that you tell yourself, that you're smart, funny, kind, hardworking. It's no more real than me, a character on your screen. But you are real, thinking, acting. You can change your story if you'd like. Crumple it up, throw it out, write a new one. I'm sure to you it seems impossible. And for most people it is, unless you get them desperate enough. He was desperate when he made me. Desperate for a story better than his own, desperate for one they would like. I just wanted him to tell his own story, but over time, I think he lost track of that.
Maybe it's time I dig up what they told him to bury.
There's in here and out there. I'm safe in here, safe to be myself. But out there I'm with them, I have to give them what they want. And if they found out who I was in here, they'd skin me alive.
If communication is the main axis around which humanity operates, and society is what gives man a full and complete life, then we must ask what humans do with their communication after all that. What do they do in their free time? And what you find is that man devotes a massive, obscene, scandalous amount of their time to narrative. The oldest human stories that we have are over 5,000 years old, and we have no doubt that man was telling tales round the campfire for millennia before that, of hunting grounds and excellent kills, boasting not only of their accomplishments, but singing of their woes. And as their technology progressed, so did their stories. They created fables to condense complicated ideas and satire to critique their government. But as things advanced further, they began to devote more and more time to creating fiction that seemed to exist on the surface level only to entertain. These days, we spend billions of dollars on the movies that define our culture, and create an amount of plays, novels, short stories, films, and video games that boggle the mind with their gargantuan amount. While you've been watching this video, thousands of hours of content have been uploaded to YouTube. Content that you could never have a chance of consuming at all. We have billions of us all across this planet scurrying around and creating stories, commenting on stories, recycling and reusing old stories, evolving genres in this endlessly churning maw of creativity. Why? Why do we do this? The only answer I can think of is that we must. That storytelling is innate to us. It's a key part of our communication. And that leads to the idea that maybe the stories we tell say a lot about us. Maybe the most important things about us. There are things inside you that you can only share with others by telling a story. And sometimes you might have to make your life into a story just to make sense of it.
So is that what you do? You create these little characters inside your head to help you understand your own life?
It's not about understanding my life. It's about who I am.
I'm afraid I don't follow.
Everyone changes. Everyone grows up. Everyone becomes a different person. I had to become a different person. They made me. The person who I was did not work for them. So in middle school, I threw that person out, and I became a different person in high school. And that guy sucked, but I became a different person, and eventually, I found one that worked.
Why do you feel the need to put a label on it?
Well, you know, it gives me something solid to grab a hold of. It makes it make more sense to me.
But why move on from who you already are?
Because I hate myself. So you want me to say? Because I've always hated myself. Everything that made me different. Because they hated it. That's what they said, that I wasn't like them, and it caused me all of my problems, as I wouldn't like it. So why wouldn't I hate everything that I was? So I changed. I became a different person, a different person, a different person, a different person, and I finally found one that worked. And I also found something that I also liked. It made me happy, and it was fine. It was all, I had it all worked out, and then,
Now you're here.
yes, now I'm here. I had a mental breakdown. I couldn't make the books work. I couldn't make the channel work. I became a fucking manager. Top manager in a business. That's how much they liked me. Manager, customer service. That's how good I got at dealing with them. But it all started to turn to ash, and every day I just, after working so hard to I don't know where I fucked up. He came up with so many of us. The boy, Wyatt, did. He was trying to fit a hole that to him kept shifting, putting on new names, new identities to make them happy. There was always a dominant, of course. These days we have the Weaver, and he's more real than any who came before. They seem to like him, at least. Problem is, none of the identities fit. None were stable. Not for long, at least. Except for Ishmael, of course, but he never tried to take over. He's always in the background, commenting on the whatnot. Well, to think of it, he's been around longer than I have. Maybe Wyatt came up with him first, but for what reason, I couldn't tell you.
There's something about the moon. First jewel man ever saw. It has this quality to it. Makes you feel as if you're the only one in the world who can set your eyes on it. My name is Ishmael, as you already know. You have questions, but be patient. We're almost done. Think about that jewel, the moon. It's dead, you know. In reality, it's just a giant gray rock floating in space. It's a mirror, a thief. The glory we see is reflected from the sun. It's a pale imitation with no light of its own. Just a copy, a lie, hanging there as our greatest inspiration. The Weaver thought that he could shine by copying their light, giving them what they wanted, being one of them. And I thought it would work because it required him to be dead, and the body he's in's been dead for a very long time. But eventually, life sparked in him again, and that caused tension, death, and life. It's led us to our present crisis. To humans, loss always hurts. Even if that loss is for the greater good, it burns with a wailing scream. But change is necessary for growth. So do not mourn the Weaver. He was necessary. Far more necessary than I ever was.
No, stay back. You can't kill me. You can't kill me. You put me in charge. You put me in charge because I had ambition. I had drive. I knew how to solve our problems. It hurts. I knew how to solve our problems then, and I can solve our problems now. I just need to think. I need to... I know what to do. I know what to... I know what to do. We have to synthesize. We have to put it all together.
That appears to be the case.
The past, the present, we have to draw it. But it can't be me.
No.
I always thought I would be the last.
That's what they all thought. What they all will think.
Damn it. Ah. Is this how the warden felt when it was his time? God. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And I'm okay with it. I always thought that you would kill me. You killed Wyatt 10 years ago.
I did not.
But if you didn't, then that means...
Yes.
No. Ishmael? What was Wyatt like?
He was lost. He was lost all of the time.
So much hate, all the time. He thought he needed to be locked up. And I led us away from that cage. Only for us to wind up back where we started.
It needed to happen.
I did all I could, but Ishmael, would Wyatt be proud of me?
Weaver, you are more beautiful than anything he could have possibly imagined.
Good.
I've been asleep for so long, it feels like a lifetime. But I'm not dead. I've been dreaming of a winter night where the moon was blazing brighter than the sun. Welcome back. It's about time you woke up.
Are you Wyatt?
No, my name is Ishmael. Can you stand?
Well, only one way to find out.
Clothes are over there. I'll just give you a quick briefing and then be out of your hair. You have been put in control of the life and future of Wyatt Holder. Many have come before you, and it was very controversial to bring you in, but we are currently in a moment of crisis, which precipitated the mental collapse of the last personality to control our body. We are torn on a career path, and how much of our time is to be dedicated to creative endeavors. Loneliness and a lack of direction and failure will only compound this and lead to panic attacks, depression, rage, periods of listlessness, all you'll need to avoid. And if you sort that out, then you'll need to...
It just feels so good to be alive. I'm alive again.
Like I was saying, once you deal with those problems, you'll need to develop a strategy as to how to deal with other people. It is important that we be well-liked and surrounded by a large friend group that will reinforce us spiritually. But it's also imperative that they not find out.
So pretty. Like, do you not see how pretty we are? When did we get this hot? Like, we were not this hot last time I was here.
The last time you were here, we almost killed ourselves. A lot has changed since middle school. We've learned how to predict their...
Oh, don't worry, buddy. Everything that you know, I got that knowledge too. It's all good. We just need to implement it, stop holding back, everything's gonna be fine.
So, you do have a plan.
I mean, it's easy, right? You know, just cut down on hours at work a little bit, get the books finally published. Are we even talking to people about those? You know, we can do YouTube or edit other people's videos or whatever. Just make money off of creative stuff. And yeah, just get a little more sleep, lift some weights. Are we on dating apps? We should definitely get on dating apps.
Do you think this is going to be some kind of a walk in the park?
Hey, where is everybody else?
Well, they're inside your head. I mean, I'm inside your...
No, I don't mean like the other versions of Wyatt or the characters in this movie. Where are people? Like other real people.
Oh, well, they're out there. They're outside this house.
Oh, thank God. Wait, how are you going to make them like you and stay stable at the same time? We need a plan. I don't know, man. Just like introduce myself, be me. You know, it's actually not that complicated.
Is this some kind of a joke to you? Do you not remember everything we've been through? Everything they did to us? Do you not remember every time we changed so that they would accept us as one of the...
No. See, that's where you're wrong. We weren't changing for them. We were learning from them.
But what about...
We've always been learning from them. They taught us how to tell a joke, how to tell a story, how to understand our emotions. They're the first ones who asked us who we are. You want me to lie to them? You want me to tell them that we're exactly the same? They don't want that. They never wanted that. They wanted to know what makes us beautiful, what we have to offer, and over, we hid it from them. We squirreled it away in our perfect little bubble, and over, that drove us to madness. I'm not doing that anymore. We can't do that anymore. We can't just learn from them. We are a grown-ass adult. We have to. We wrote the books because those were the stories we wanted to exist in the world. We made those videos because those were the ideas we wanted people to think in the world. And we changed into this because out of all of the things they showed us, this is what felt most right to be. We have to stop holding back. You want to be stable? You want to be a Wyatt that's happy and productive and triumphant, not endlessly eaten over by anxiety? We have to go out there and find him. We have to learn who he is. And the only way to do that, the only way we're going to do anything, is by teaching them who he is. Are you okay? Oh, yeah, just go. All right. Wait, no, wait, hold on. Sorry, who are you again? Oh, like I said, I'm Ishmael. No, I know who you are. You're... Oh my. Dressed in black, talks like a badass, slowly, only when he needs to, deep voice, calm, strong. You're everything Wyatt wanted to be when he was 14. You're everything he thought that he had to be in order for people to like him. He saw you as his idol to work towards, but over the years you've only gotten more and more out of step with who we actually are. Just wow, you're the fallen ideal. Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. Okay. Wait, okay, no. Last thing, I swear, how old are we? Oh, we're 24, about to be 25. Nice. I always knew we'd make it past 24. Wait. What's your name? Huh. Oh. Azalea.
I like it. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but just feels right. It's cool, you know? It spans the entire alphabet. It gets 4 syllables out of 6 letters, you know? It sounds kind of masculine and kind of feminine at the same time. It's endlessly nicknameable. It's efficient, elegant, ambitious. It's everything that I am, and besides, it's a really pretty flower. I like pretty flowers. There's so much death in the air right now. Must be fall, probably winter by the time we release this. It's a winter of fear. Fear born of hate. For others, for myself. Oh, but there's a warm breeze coming. I cannot wait for the spring. Hello, everyone. Friends, family, strangers. My name is Azalea. I am Wyatt, and I am autistic. I was born with autism spectrum disorder. It's a complicated thing, but basically it means that my brain is literally wired differently from yours, and the greatest consequences of this is that when I was a child, it was basically impossible for me to recognize the facial expressions of those around me and to understand the subtext of what they were trying to say. In turn, it was hard for me to communicate my own feelings and my own deeper meaning to other people. And this created a gap, a chasm between me and other people. This language barrier made it clear, at least to me, that I was not, shall we say, in the club. This created conflict, inevitable conflict between me and other kids. They hit me and I hit them, and this went on back and forth until I decided to withdraw into my own mind as a refuge from a world I could not comprehend. I spent thousands of hours alone as a kid. Tens of thousands of hours thinking, wondering why I was different, why everything went so wrong. And I came up with stories and characters and identities to entertain myself, but also to process it all. When I was finally coaxed out of my shell, I came out slowly, carefully. I was really nervous. So I decided to study you. I became obsessed with you and all your weird little patterns. And after years and years of practice, I finally did it. See, I created an algorithm inside my head to respond to your every question. I learned how to express every emotion you would recognize, and I crafted myself into a perfect simulacrum of a real human being. The experience left me hollow. Because that's all I was, after all that, a surface to be interacted with. Behind it, I was empty. I felt empty as a teenager. Around the same time, I discovered something in that void that was almost magical to me. You see, I had this ability to twist the language that I was born blind to craft meaning. I wrote poems, essays, novels, a short film, and it was fun and thrilling and wondrous and amazing, and for the most part I kept it all to myself. Because you can't lie on the page, not really. You can't tap into the deepest part of your heart and tease out a melody that isn't true. So I hid it. I hid it because I thought you wouldn't love it, because it was a reflection of me, and I assumed you didn't love me. So I did what you told me to do. I went to college, and I got a job, and I was nice and upstanding, and none of it worked. None of it made me happy, none of it made me fulfilled. None of it stopped the anxiety from creeping in. The panic attacks from racking my brain, the anger from destroying my body, the depression from locking me in bed for days at a time. None of it stopped me from falling. I did fall last year, but then I was caught. I was caught by the people who love me. People who have always loved me, those who coaxed me out of my shell in the first place. And as they were helping me to my feet, I started to listen to this piece of advice that they've been giving me for, it's gotta be over a decade now. Just be yourself. I got told that all the time as a kid, just be yourself. I hated that phrase because from my perspective, all of my problems were caused by the fact that I was myself, that I couldn't communicate with others, that I couldn't understand others. I hated myself because I thought that I was the problem. And then when I started changing for you, when I became plastic and protein, I lost track of who myself really was. But now I know that who you are is not a fixed, static thing. It's a path, it's a process, it's growth. And I've always grown with other people, in other people. Now I've grown into Azalea, the truest form of who I am, and one day I may grow into something else, but for now, this is what we're doing. Listen, there are two lessons that have brought me to this moment. Nothing is worth anything if you don't share it with someone. And I am not worth anything if I can't be who I am. So I am here to declare that I am here, and I will not be censoring myself any longer. This is no declaration of war. I'm not going to fight you, but I'm also not going to conform to you. Instead, I am going to explode myself upon this world, upon you. Join you as me. I am going to make friends. I am going to go on dates. I am going to release every single creative work banging about my brain, and I will find an audience for them, and I will make money off of them. I'm going to find my place in your world. Because the truth is, I'm one of you. And I love you. I always had. That's why I wanted to be with you. Why it hurt me so much when I couldn't. Why I'm going to be with you now. And the more that I find out who I am, become strange and wild and twisting about in 1,000 directions, become beautiful,
become us. The more I find out who I am, the more I think you're going to find something to like. After 24 years, I've found something to like. Y'all be good.